feel?
I feel like I want to ride one of these. Where do I get them?
Australia.
Okay, well let's go to Australia right now and get us a whole stack of them.
Welcome back to the Joyride. This time we're going to be testing the tow model from Campbell Designed Surfboard. You might remember that a few years back we actually tested another board from Ryan and Stuart Campbell. It was called the Chunky Tow, and that was sort of the smaller wave version of this board right here. It worked insane, it was super responsive, super quick, I absolutely loved it, so I'm excited to give this one a go. But before we do that, last time we had one big question, and that is, what is this mechanical spring that they're talking about inside their Exoflex technology?
Boards in our Exoflex technology fitted with lighter weight springs when compared with a standard PU polystringed board are 30% lighter and 12% stronger, while those fitted with the heavy duty springs are 27% lighter and 42% stronger.
Ryan and Stuart made a little video earlier this year where they actually broke some of their boards to show how well Exoflex works, but they didn't quite answer that question. Unfortunately, I have the answer. So, unlike Stuart and Ryan, I did not break this board intentionally in the name of science, I just broke it surfing, but it is really interesting to see what's inside, and basically what we have here is the strip that comprises the mechanical spring. And how it works is it's actually thin layers of a carbon fiber that's laid over one another. And the example that Ryan Campbell gave me is it's like a leaf spring in a car, and when I looked up that visual, it actually made a lot of sense to me. So if you look inside my board right here, you can actually see that there are not too many layers to this strip that they have. And that's because I'm a little bit on the lighter side as far as surfers are concerned. So somebody that's a bit heavier would get more strips. They would be a little bit thicker, a little bit stronger, a little bit stiffer. Also, if I was getting a board made for bigger waves that were more powerful, mine would be a little bit stiffer. So they have a lot of options when it comes to this, and they can really make each board for each person and the type of waves they want to surf on it. So the goal with this board, the tow, is to get some really, really good waves on it because it's their high performance model, and hopefully not break it. Well, that was insane. Absolutely pumping waves, nobody out, just peaks all to myself, rights, lefts, and most importantly, I got to learn a lot about this surfboard. It kind of confirmed a long-held belief that I've always had that epoxy boards, EPS, they go faster than PU in smaller waves, but I think they actually go a little bit slower than PU in bigger, more powerful waves. And my theory is that because the waves out here have so much more power, a PU sits down in the water a little bit more, whereas EPS, it's more on the surface and it's a little bit lighter, so it doesn't have the same connection to the wave and it doesn't have the same natural momentum because of the weight. So out there were a few moments where I actually struggled to get the board going fast enough. I got stuck behind a couple times. I felt myself going over my front foot trying to pump to get to where I wanted to go. But on the flip side, when I got a nice steep cuppy face, this board really engaged and just took off fast. Another big thing that I learned out there is that this board definitely has a certain max capacity when it comes to power and speed. There were a few sections out there that I didn't really want anything to do with. One, because they were scary, and two, because I just didn't feel like I could do a full direction change on this board at that velocity. So I ended up doing a couple like half turns under the lip because it was just kind of scary and confronting to hit a section like that on this board. But that being said, when I got on a wave that had a little bit more of a shoulder and it allowed me to kind of open up and slow down a little bit more, this board locked in. I did some turns that felt really nice. It felt really explosive through the lip. It felt like it was solid on rail as well a few times on the forehand. So all in all, amazing first session on this board. Because the waves were a little bit bigger today, I put the John fins in. They're Tech Flex, which means that they're stiff, and they're also a pretty good size fin with a bit of rake to them. The idea there is that they're gonna hold when it matters. And for the most part, they did their job. I definitely wouldn't have wanted to be riding any other fin out there. That said, there were some turns where it felt like they couldn't quite grip in as much as I wanted to, so I had to take my foot off the gas a bit. But next time we go out, we're gonna throw in a fin that's a little bit smaller, a little bit more performance-based, and see if we can get this board going even faster. Well, that was an interesting session. Lots of sun, fun waves, rescued like 8 people out there. They just kept coming to me on a little conveyor belt. It was pretty funny. And I think I did my first double grab air. I don't know what happened exactly. I just kind of blacked out. And then when I came to, I was just clutching both rails like it was the frickin' Rosetta Stone, and I was like 6 inches above the lip. But overall, the board still worked insane. This is obviously very different conditions from the first session. You know, chest high, head high, occasional overhead wave, fairly clean, and it did exactly what I needed it to on pretty much every wave. Especially on the steeper waves, it just felt like it gripped in so good. It was so quick from the bottom to the top. I felt like I could take off in what was essentially a closeout and just drop straight to the bottom, go straight to the top, and get out and land it before the whitewater even came to me. These are the AM1s, and they famously have the smaller back fin relative to the side fins. These are just like my go-to performance fins when the waves are fun size and I don't have to necessarily worry about the board holding in. And what I find is they have all the hold that you need from the rake in these fins, but they get a little bit of extra release because this back fin is smaller, so you can slide it or push it off the lip a little bit more. So I really enjoyed them out there. To me, the best fin is when you don't notice at all, and I didn't notice them one bit out there, so I think they did their job. Overall, I'm just so impressed by these boards coming out of a small Australian surf brand. Maybe they're bigger over in Australia, but whenever I tell anyone in the US that I'm riding a Campbell, they're like, oh, Campbell Brothers. I'm like, no, Campbell Designed. So keep your eyes peeled because you're going to be seeing a lot more of these guys in the future.
I've been surfing for 60 years, and this is the best board I've ever seen in my life. Amazing. I want to be on the team. Beautiful. Wow.